whatever we can do, we'll just roll with it. Okay, so right now, just gonna use Raider IO as our resource instead of Wowhead, but anyway. Class changes, I'm not gonna talk about that just yet. Besides, I'm not going to pretend like I know every or each and every class. So, not gonna happen. But maybe some general insight. I read this article and I like how this was presented. It's very short and sweet. So we're just gonna roll with that one. We'll see how that goes. So there are changes from Mythic Plus and its affixes. And to my mind in general, these are just changes to be tuned with the current or the Shadowlands dungeons. It seems like based from what we've been watching from other streamers or from blue posts or from written content or whichever you want to see it, Shadowlands will be a much more difficult expansion than BFA. Shadowlands will require more player skill rather than RNG. Thank God for that. So we're here. I've been playing. I was able to play Cataclysm at a time, and there was Wrath. Of course, during the course of the expansion, they make it easier. And when Cata came, first landing of Cataclysm, everything was just difficult, and it was enjoyable. The content, you could separate the good players from the bad players. I don't want to sound like an elitist jerk or anything, but of course it was refreshing and it really was great. Uh, if you put in the work, you'll be able to see the fruits of your labors. Compared to my experience with BFA, as long as you have a nice TD proc, you're good. Looks like it's not gonna happen in Shadowlands. So we'll tackle this first. Like I've been saying in my previous streams, I main a healer, I main a Holy Paladin. Oh, by the way, the Holy Shock cooldown for Holy Paladins have been lowered from 9 seconds, 9.5 seconds, to 7.5 seconds. Like one of the top pallies also in the US, Elismir, says, "We're back, boys." I agree with that. Also, just as a segue, it seems also like Blizz is really taking in the Glimmer build. It's such a fun spec to play, to be honest. I enjoy the Glimmer build. Of course, in BFA, it's just ridiculously OP. Unfortunately, also in BFA, that's the only viable spec that you can do while, or if you want to push keys or be competitive in keys. When I was gearing up as a Holy Pally, of course, Glimmer's not gonna work if you don't have the traits. You need 3 Glimmer of Light traits. But so prior to doing that, I had to have a beacon build, which is also tons of fun to play. Problem there is that you run out of mana. I suppose just like any other healer, but I'd rather have the Glimmer build. It's such an enjoyable thing to play. You get to manage your mana, you get to heal a lot, you get to DPS a lot. And I like where Holy Pallies are in BFA. It's like we're very, very strong, but not as strong as Druids, but very competitive. Like you can debate me on this one. It's not really like I've been checking out a lot of things, but just happens that way. So I'm happy with that. Druids will probably still be meta in Shadowlands, but I really don't care about that. I just want to stick with Holy Paladins for the sole reason that it is well-rounded. I like to push keys. That's what I intend to do in Shadowlands. I also like to raid in Shadowlands. Pallies are like there in the middle to the upper tier. High average, above average, that's it. Of course, they're not like S class on how other people categorize it. I'm not gonna go there. But there are lots of streams, there are lots of discussions on that. Maybe we'll get into those commentaries one way or another. Not tonight. But to me, that is just how it is. Pallies are so strong because of their auras, aura mastery. Glimmer build allows you to conserve mana, but in Shadowlands they also included holy power, so it's kind of messed up in a bit. But it seems clunky, but I like it. I like the change. I don't really bash any changes that Blizz makes. I just have to work with it, and as long as it's workable, and as long as you can still optimize the output, the throughput that you're gonna be doing, everything else is great. The only thing that I wouldn't really want to experience is like it's so clunky. It's just like it's like red pallies. It's like retribution DPS. It's okay. It's not really fun. I don't like playing DPS paladins. It's just, I mean, demon hunters have eye beams. They fly over all over the place. Death Knights, I played the Death Knight before. I enjoyed the DPS rotation and everything there. Just more enjoyable than a red pally. Even the, well, I guess you could say Feral is not so, yeah. But I'm not really a rogue fan. I'm not really a bleeds fan. I'm not really a druid, Feral druid kind of fan. Boomies, well, maybe like range DPS. I'm having fun with a hunter, but I just have only a mid-level hunter, so it's not really. I couldn't really competently comment on that. So anyway, back to the discussion. After that long ass segue I just did. So the changes in the Mythic Keystone dungeon affixes. So bursting is now a dispellable magic debuff. So priests gonna have feast with this. So basically, what I see here is that if it's a dispellable magic debuff, you have classes that could drop debuffs. Rogues have cloak. Pallies, of course, have dispels. Druids, shamans, but nothing beats a priest with that mass dispel. What I see here is that during bursting weeks, you can do a mass pull. If you have a priest, you can do a mass pull. Try to AoE everything down, but it's AoE capped, so that's also the challenge with that. And once bursting comes to a ridiculously high stack, you just mass dispel. Done. For normal groups, when I say normal, it's not the meta composition or it's just your usual group. It's great that the pally can dispel as well. Other classes can also dispel, so if you have a classical dispel, it would be great. But the only benefit I see here is for priests doing a big pull, not really mass pull, do a big pull, mass spell, that's it. And then you go your normal way. Bursting deals a flat amount of damage instead of percentage based off of max HP. Now it depends on what the amount of damage that is. I suppose it's also not as well, depends on the key, because the higher the key, the higher the damage. So the flat damage. So I don't know how much damage they intend to do here yet. I haven't really read up on that, but I I can't really comment if how that will impact gameplay Shadowlands. But maybe we'll see. I'm gonna check that one. So with Prepatch, we don't know what's next. Next week is supposed to be, they're not gonna change it. Fortified Sanguine Quaking. So if you'll see here, oh here, Fortified Sanguine Quaking. Changes in Quaking. Here. So first, anyway, we'll get to that. So Volcanic. Players are now knocked in the air when hit by Volcanic, and Volcanic now deals damage equal to 15% of the player's health. It was 40%. Basically, this cancels out each other. You're gonna have fall damage, I would assume, if you get hit by Volcanic. Worse is that you may be able to, depends on where you get knocked in the air. It's like you just get knocked in the air, like in Shrine, like you just fly up, or you get tossed somewhere else. That would be more dangerous, that would be more challenging. I think that would be better if you get knocked out and just not knocked in the air. Depends how, we'll see how that goes. And 15%, so I think it's gonna be more dangerous, less damaging, more dangerous. What I think of Volcanic. Sanguine reduced to 20 seconds was 60 seconds. I welcome this change. 60 seconds was stupid, to be honest. Like there's like a pot there. Sanguine already hits you for a lot of damage if you stand on it just for a couple of seconds. And for instance, like Waycrest or Toldagor, it's just horrible, horrible, horrible. And if it was 60 seconds, it's just not. It just doesn't feel like it's really a good mechanic because it's just there for forever, and don't really need that kind of waste of time in your life. So 20 seconds is fair. 20 seconds is enough damage for you to navigate through pools of Sanguine. But if you wipe or something, you don't need to suffer from that. Because the damage has been done if you already wiped. Damage has been done if you're running back. The damage has been done if you have to go back to that area. There's no need to have it lay there for a good whole minute. These are for instances like Toldagor and Waycrest Manor. So I recall the top of my head. There's that. Grievous. Non-periodic heals now removes one stack of Grievous. That's great for shamans, uh, uh, priests, paladins. Basically, Grievous is an anti-druid affix now. The non-periodic heals now removes one stack of Grievous. This helps alleviate the great advantage, or helps solve rather, the great advantages of druids and just hotting everybody, and Grievous is just like a laughing affix, a laughable affix for them. So non-periodic heals for those solid straight up heals like Pally's Flash heal and all that stuff removes one stack of Grievous. Now I'd like to test it, but most likely even the Light of Dawn removes one stack of Grievous. So that is very favorable for Holy Pally if it does that, because it's not a periodic heal. Light of Dawn is like one smack, one stack remove for the party. That's really strong, and that's virtually. It's not. I was about to say it's instant cast. It's not. It requires holy power, I think, in Shadowlands. I have to study more on that, but still, that simple dynamic, just Light of Dawn that stuff, done. Also, these a flat amount of damage is at a percentage based off of max HP. That might be more dangerous. It depends on the key. An explosive. 4 to 8 yards from the unit that summoned them was 3 yards. So this really focuses on range DPS roll, on focusing on explosive orbs. This also, if you're a melee heavy group, it's also, it does not If you're a melee heavy group, it does a clump, does a cluster together if you pull a mob. So this is also, so Blizz is basically saying, yeah, you could go melee heavy on the keys. It doesn't really matter, but you still need that. You still have that responsibility to get those explosive orbs. And while yes, not everything's gonna be like crapped on you in the middle of everything, you have to run out a bit to get those orbs. Explosive orb health has been reduced and no longer scales with Keystone level. Sound effect when defeated. Okay. So I suppose explosive orbs don't really matter when you're doing high keys. So you can anticipate during explosive week, high high keys, you're just gonna laugh at them. They're like, ah, blah blah blah, boom, they're all dead. Hunters are gonna have a field day on that. What I plan to do with the guild and with the keys team is just to practice push after pre-patch hits, even without really anything else. Well, maybe Raider I was gonna record it, but I don't know. Here's a juicy part. No more corruptions, thank God. Heart of Darkness no longer requires a corruption level to be active, so it's gonna be, my interpretation is gonna be active just as long as you just wear it. That's really good. That's really good. That's a problem. I don't have gear, high enough eye level gear that has Heart of Darkness in it, so this is gonna be great for those who have Heart of Darkness. You're gonna spam this. It's going to be OP if you have it. Memory of Lucid Dreams now affects Holy Power instead of Shield Rights for Protection Paladins. I guess it's okay. Also affects mana for Enhancement Shamans. Lots of changes with Conflict and Strife. Confession. I main a Holy Valley, but I only have rank 2 Conflict and Strife because it was too late when I got the quest for rank 3, so I did not bother getting the weekly conquest I needed to get that burgeoning thing for you to get the rank 3 one. Leatherworking drums now provide 15% haste plus 25, so there you go. If you don't have a hunter, you don't have a shaman, don't have a mage, minus 10% on your haste. But Holy Palace roll of Vita charged with the Radin Drink, so that's enough haste for the group, I think, if it procs correctly. If it lines up with the Leatherworking Lust, that's great. War Scrolls can no longer be used by characters above level 50. It's not gonna be a problem because we're all gonna be level 50 until Shadowlands hit. So many consumables now have a 5-minute cooldown. Okay. We'll see. Which consumables are those? Water now regenerates mana slower in the first seconds you begin drinking, increasing to a rapid return as you drink continuously. Now this is actually a nerf, but if you're gonna think about it realistically, it actually makes sense. When you drink sports drink, for example, or when you drink water, you're thirsty or parched, first few sips don't really matter, but when you gulp it all in, you're gonna feel the fluids rush in your system. Same logic. So for power gamers, it does not make sense, but if you're a role player, it does make a lot of sense. That's all I can say about the water change. Reduce the amount of value that critical strike, haste, mastery, or versatility secondary stats provide when reaching high thresholds. There is diminishing returns. I don't know how they're going to diminish this further, but we'll see. This is probably the counter with the Heart of Darkness for now. When you have 3 Heart of Darkness, most likely it's not gonna really be as impactful as you think it will be because of this change. Because of this change here. Heirlooms have no longer experienced when they have a set bonus. I like the 2 set. Consumed. Rested experience consumed is reduced by 30%. And 3 set is increase your out of combat regen. Yeah, okay. So you have a 6 set. Rested experience consumed is reduced by an additional 30%. This is big. Shadowlands or Prepatch is going to introduce you a new leveling scheme or system. If you have minimal rested experience consumption, you're already going to blaze through it. And you have these sets, you're going to have higher DPS, higher everything. If you can do it in 6 hours, you can probably do it in 4.5 hours. Depends how many heirlooms you have. And that's just a rough estimate, guys. I haven't run any numbers, I have nothing. So they're not going to allow spamming of these potions. But drought of 10 lands will still retain the 10% experience bonus, but will now be capped at level 50. So you can't use it to Shadowlands content. Pretty okay. If they're going to do level 1 to 50, if it's true that you can do it within 6 hours, if you're going to like hardcore pump up your alt, I think Shadowlands is going to be also going to be fun in terms of leveling. I don't think you have to worry about leveling up now in WoW. They made it really easy for you to access those things. I don't think it's going to be an issue like it was in the past. Glyphs that change the appearance of druid's form are not wanted. I'm a druid, but I don't really have all those glyphs or all those appearances. So this